Hey everybody, it's Matt. Wrestling with Whiskey is back again with another episode of Straight Shooting. This time with a man who wears many hats. I mean, wrestler, yes, of course, but actor, comedian, writer, director, producer, maybe a gigolo, but definitely one time former tag team partner of mine at the time I was sporting the world's worst mustache. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome the Hollywood Hunk, Ryan Nemeth. Rye, what's going on, man?
Oh my God, I forgot your mustache. Did I? I never really
Oh,
had
good. You
issues.
good. Continue to forget it. You never had a
I
mustache,
really did.
no.
No, anytime I've had to have one for like a some kind of small acting thing, I would always have to use a little Sharpie to darken it. my, my face, I'm not very manly, let's face it, okay? So the most I can grow out a beard or a mustache is like it looks like a high school kid, like patchy, very blonde, light. It's not intimidating. So I've always had to like darken it a little bit, but I just simply don't try. So
Yeah.
congrats on your awesome beard.
Well,
Thanks for having me
here's.
on your show.
Oh yeah, we'll see. Like it's just the opposite because I can't do this anymore. Like it's just it's terrible. Like hair. Hair. So I'm glad it works here because yeah, it don't work up here.
Oh,
It was just
I thought
like
you were doing the standard thing of like tough guy head shaving.
Like
All right,
I'm
cool.
I'm convincing
Well, that looks
myself
pretty
that
good.
that's what it was for. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna convince myself that's what. Yeah, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna be the next Luke Gallows over here and just be tough bald bearded guy. No, but like I've told the story before. There was a bad picture of me taking a bump on TV. I was growing my hair out. I was like slicking it back and all this stuff, and I was
I
taking a
remember.
bump, and it all flipped up in back, and I was like whiter than even all my skin is here, like white, huge bald spot.
Oh,
And I was
dang.
like, it's that bad? Holy crap. I'm like, I am done. I'm giving up the fight. Plus, like, my whole family is like, my mom's dad's bald. My dad's bald. My dad is bald. Like, I have no chance.
Oh, all right. Well, you had a good run. You had really cool hair.
Thanks, dude.
Hey, you know what? That's I guess the benefit of being a wrestler or like an NBA player is that like everyone else, that's how you find out. Like, so I wonder about the common man. How do they find out? Like, I mean, specifically spots in the back, like LeBron James. The past few seasons, we've all been seeing,
Sure.
because the cameras are pointing down, and we all have friends in wrestling who, when they fall a certain way, you're like, oh, well, okay, all right.
Mm-hmm.
How does anyone else find out? No one
I
else
don't,
is in these circumstances, unless it's in the
yeah.
front. Like,
I mean, I guess you see a little bit of that, but yeah, like the bald spots in the back. I mean, yeah, how many times are you really like in a double mirror situation where you can
right,
really
yeah.
tell and you're doing that much?
And no one's up like the angle from a wrestling ring or an NBA court, And I'm saying NBA because football players have helmets on, baseball players have a hat on. But for down here is where the action is, and the people are up here, so they can see, they know what's up.
Oh
But
yeah.
if you work at a bank or a grocery store, you're never in that scenario.
You unless you just have a really like tactful and kind like friend, best friend who's just like pats you on the shoulder and it's just like, hey man, we
Time.
we should talk. It's time. Come, my friend's a barber. Come with me. I'll
Well,
lead you to the promised land.
this is a wig, but it's just one of those
No,
really
it's
well glued on ones.
not. Yeah, stop it.
It's
You've always had fantastic hair.
oh, thank you.
What hair color? What is your hair color naturally?
Naturally, it's like whatever
Is
this is. So it's kind of I call it brown, but hairstylists and barbers always call me blonde. So I think it depends how the light is hitting it.
so like a
Maybe
lighter brown, maybe.
lighter brown, dirty blonde, something like that.
Okay. I was,
And
does it, when you try to grow in facial hair, like when you've tried in the past, does it grow in a different color? Or is it like brownish, light brown too?
um, I don't really know how to. I wish it were this color. It's probably this color, but it's just not as
Yeah.
dense. It's just like spread apart, so it looks wispy and like it looks like I just glued on like straight hair. Like, oh.
Just put
It
your
looks like
pubes
a
on your
dog
face.
that, yeah, that's what it looks like. And then when we were in NXT or FCW, I would always dye it black because I wanted to like look the opposite of my brother. And
Yeah.
now he has basically brown hair. I'm trying to go super lighter. I'm always trying to like do the opposite of him,
Yeah,
which
fair
doesn't
enough.
matter because the fans are, yeah.
Because they're, yeah. But no, regardless, you brought it up. So we were both in FCW way back when, the glory days. Uh, and so one thing that I actually never, because I'm the main thing honestly that I want to talk about a lot is going to be the movie stuff, is going to be all the like the writing stuff, the acting stuff, because that's one of the other things we have in common that I don't have in common with a lot of wrestlers. So, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
always did want to kind of get what kind of, I guess, what came first, the wrestling or like acting and film and all that. So what was kind of, from a young man, what was in your head first that you really
Can
thought
I tell
about?
you a short little story about you before I get into this one? Because I'll forget
Please.
it, and it's very much on this topic, but I will forget it. There was one day when you were in promo class and Dusty's class, playing a guitar and singing, and Norman Smiley pulled me aside and said, "I won't attempt to do his voice, but you know how he sounds. I'm very bad at impressions." But he pulled me aside and said, "Riley, you're an entertainer. Can I ask you, what is your opinion of this?" You know, something like that. I just said I wouldn't do his voice, but then I also just did it.
Of
And I
course.
said, "I think it's fantastic." And he goes, "Okay, because I was thinking the same thing. I just wanted to know your opinion." I was like, "Cool." Yeah.
Oh no, God, I miss that guy.
He's the man.
One
So
of my favorite.
I have great love for that man. As you maybe remember or don't, I used to pass out when it was blood days because I'm very bad with needles. And he, after realizing how bad it was, would like we would do it in a secret hallway. He would hold my hand. He would hold my hand, brother. Squeeze my hand, Briley. He told me Briggle. I would just squeeze so hard. I would usually pass out anyways, but it was nice to have him there.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so to answer your question, my family has always loved wrestling. I've always loved wrestling. We used to go see it in Cleveland as much as possible. We would go to the indie shows. Cleveland All Pro is the main indie show there. We would go to any house shows, WWE or WWF that would come. We used to go see ECW at the Agora in Cleveland. Um, we've always loved it. My older brother has always wanted to become a pro wrestler since he can remember, and I remember that being the case. That was not the case for me. I always wanted to. Well, I was very shy as a boy. You know, I liked drawing and writing and creative things, and I liked creating things, making things, but I was very shy and didn't like want to be the center of attention. And around when you become a teenager, that started to change, and I just love being the center of attention. I love being like creating scenarios to be at the front of the class to perform something. I loved like doing when you have to go up there and present your report or whatever it was. I just thought that was the most fun. I thought it was just the perfect time to create like a funny scene or scenario or like try to entertain the class. And then I started to find out about when I was in college. There was an acting class, and I thought I'll give this a shot, sure. And I just instantly fell in love with it, no matter how bad I was or whatever. Loved it. And then I saw that there were tryouts for a sketch comedy and improv troupe, and I said, I don't quite know what improv is, but I do love sketch comedy, so let's go try out for this thing. And I again just loved it right away. And then found out that a lot of my favorite comedic performers and actors had started out at a place in your neck of the woods at Improv Olympic and Second City.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started spending summers in Chicago training and performing at what they renamed the IO Chicago Theater. And that was getting college credit for my theater minor that way. We didn't have a theater major. I would have dropped everything and went and just did a theater major if I could have, but we only had a minor. So I was like doing that each summer, just loving it. And my brother also was a huge lifelong fan of these same performers and comedians. And so while he was excitedly telling me about OVW and like FCW, and as he was, rising through that company, I was telling him all about this stuff. And it was like so fun to compare notes, and he would come visit and see stuff. I would go to his shows in Florida and Kentucky and watch stuff. I would drive Wednesdays during college to OVW to go watch his like little matches there, and I thought those were just so much more fun than going to like a SmackDown or something. And like, people think I'm crazy, but like they were so fun, man. You can see like future stars kind of past stars, like people who would just stay there. It was like so, and it was right in your face. It was so intimate. The way that people nowadays think of maybe indie shows, I thought of an Ohio Valley Wrestling TV taping as like, and they would come to Cincinnati where I was in school, and go to those shows. I just was so in love with that small, intimate, theatrical, athletic performance, and started to like. That's when the seed kind of got planted in my head. When I would go see his like developmental shows, I would think, wow, like I am pretty athletic, and I really have taken to being on stage in front of people and performing. Maybe, I don't know. I'll think about that later, but that's something in my brain. So that's when I really started to be a little seed of a little plant blossoming in my brain about wrestling.
And then at what point did you take the step? Like, all right, I'm gonna like give this like a go and train and stuff like that. When was that?
That would be okay. So when I was finally finishing up school, I decided. I thought there's like a path, one path or the other path. I'm either gonna move to Chicago and just try to become like the best second city performer ever, and like go to SNL or have a movie writing career, like something like that. More intellectual and entertainment based, or and this was fresh after visiting Nick at FCW because he had gone up to TV and then back down to FC, switched to Tampa instead of Kentucky. A lot of details people can look up, whatever.
Yeah.
So I was visiting, and when you drove, and the FCW shows, they didn't use the arena. That building was so new that it wasn't even like finished. There was rings in there, but it was still like a supermarket with like canned goods. It was like so weird. So their shows were at this bar. I forget the name of the bar, but it was a tiny
Bourbon Street.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Newport Richie?
Yes, and it was a tiny little ring. It was like a 14-foot ring or something. It was like the smallest ring ever. And you had people like Harry Smith and who was like really big in the ring back then. Heath was there. He was pretty tall, large man, and it was so wild to see all these people who later, become huge stars. And then my brother had like bleached weird hair, like Ric Flair style hair, and he had just changed entirely from wrestler Nick Nemeth to the caddy to the Spirit Squad guy to now he was just like basically 1980s, a mixture of like Ric Flair and kind of Rip Rogers and a few other people. I just thought this is like crazy watching this happen in this bar and then afterwards the wrestlers would just walk, the ring would get torn down and people were just having beers. And I thought, this is awesome. This is so awesome.
This is great.
Yeah. Okay. So I had to sort of decide, like, because leases are ending, the next chapter of life is starting. And I thought, which one am I going to do? Because I sort of really want to do both of these things. And I don't know. And there's no guarantee that either one, they're both so risky.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think like anything I've ever done in my life is always like, that the odds are probably pretty slim that's going to happen, but then they do. So I don't know. Just give it a shot. Sometimes they don't, but a lot of times they do work out. But you got to take that step. There's always like, you can think about it for weeks, and then the weeks become months, and then years, and then probably for some people a decade goes by, and they think, "Wow, I really should have tried to become a minor league baseball player." Like, but now it's too late, dude. You guys have to do it.
I've thought about that so many times.
Yeah, we all know people who were like, whoa, when he was in high school, he was the best wrestler like in the whole state, and he just didn't feel like it in college, and that's fine. Like I don't know, there's whatever. We're not gonna get into this. So I had to decide, but I'm deciding at the moment. Like you got to decide, man. Do you want to be a comedian or you want to be a fighter? You got to pick one. So, so I decided I'm gonna move to Chicago full time and just go fully into like improv and comedy and screenwriting and try to get involved in. I don't know why I didn't. Now I'm thinking about why didn't I just move to Hollywood? Why was Chicago the place? Because I just liked it.
Especially for sketch and improv. I mean, Second City and IO and stuff are still nationally very, very highly regarded. We probably would have ended up hanging out. We probably would have crossed circles at that time. I was still there. I think I was still doing school. Yeah.
So I thought, all right, you made a decision, and one way or the other, this is what your life is now. And just a few weeks after being there, I just thought, this is the wrong decision. I should be wrestling. This sucks. And okay, so I also thought at any point you can really go head first into improv, acting, and writing. I know a lot of these people would tell me I'm wrong, but physically you can. Okay,
Yeah.
you cannot. That does not exist for wrestling. Like you get if you're young and you're athletic, like that runs out eventually. And there are people who can wrestle till they're 50, but they didn't start at 50. You know, like so. I let a few more months go by, and I really remember feeling like I am just like spinning my wheels. I'm not even really enjoying the comedy stuff because I'm just realizing I made like the wrong decision. I'm just in a city. You know, when you're in a city you don't belong in really for one reason or another. I'm just going through motions of like date. I was dating this girl named Smoker Molly. Her name was Molly, but she smoked a lot, so I called her Smoker Molly. And you know, I realized at this point in life, she is happily married, has children and a family and a great career. And if she's watching, she's not. I wish you well. But you know, that was her name. We all called her that. So one day, I think one night, Nick was performing with like a SmackDown. Maybe it was really SmackDown. I think they did TV there. And we met up afterwards at some diner in Boys Town, I think. And oh, he was in town. We wanted to get him some new gear, so we went to all the weird sex shops in Boys
Oh
Town to get him
yeah.
all those weird little shorts and stuff. So some of his gear from that time frame was not wrestling gear. It was weird sex gear, sex that
Wow.
modified wrestling gear.
Yeah.
So we were hanging out at this diner, and I said, "All right, listen, I want to get out of here and start wrestling. What should I do?" And he said, and this is like months of me kind of like hinting at it, and finally we were sitting down face to face, the only people in this place. I said, "What is my plan? Like, what do you recommend?" And he said, "You should do one of two things: move to Canada and train with Lance Storm as much as you can, or go to Kentucky and train with Rip Rogers as much as you can." And he said, you know, see what you think about it. If you actually like it or love it, and you eventually get some matches on tape, give them to me, and maybe I'll try to put in a word for you. But like, there's no guarantee. I have no say in anything anywhere. And if you really love wrestling, that won't matter at all because you'll just be wrestling on indie shows. Who cares, you know? And that sounded really good to me. And honestly, I wanted to go to Lance Storm School more because I just thought he's someone I know of a little bit more than uh, weird, bizarre Rip Rogers in Kentucky. You know,
Oh God. By the way, yeah, if there's wrestling fans out who are not familiar, just Google, YouTube, look up some stories. That is a character.
and he, you know, he's a bizarre, eccentric, extreme weirdo guy, but he's also, as far as I was told by anyone, including my brother and Randy Orton, John Cena, Batista, like people, Serena Deeb, Santino, people, Sandow, people who've had amazing careers will all say he is very strange, but he is the best trainer in the world for pro wrestling when you're first learning. And it seemed way harder to go to a different country and start a new life than it did to just drive a few hours to Kentucky. So I went to a tryout they had, which was, it was like good timing. Once I sort of decided like, okay, I'm going to leave Chicago, get back to home base in Cleveland and sort of figure out my next moves. Right when I did that, OVW announced they're having a tryout weekend. And I said, great, I'm driving down. And I stayed with some friends, couldn't sleep because I was too excited, went right to the tryout the next morning and met Rip Rogers. And dude, what an insane person. But right off the bat, you can tell like he loves the mythology about him. He loves like the legend of like, oh, this guy, like, where do you get a load of him? And he just plays into it so hard, but it's pretty true. But he just is such a genius about it, man. Like, anyways, I fell in love with. I walked in the building, you know, just probably the same way I felt like going into IO for the first time. It's like there's like this mystique and a legendary like feeling about it. And now you're walking in not as a fan, but as a participant and possibly a performer someday. And it was just so awesome. And I thought, all right, I got to move here full time and do this. And I think I won a scholarship to train in his class. So I was doing beginners class 2 days a week, Rip Rogers advanced class 2 days a week, and then we had a show on Wednesday for TV. We had house shows the next 2 nights. It was every single day, basically, some kind
Yeah.
of wrestling. It was insane, dude. Uh, and then I had a day job as a personal trainer from like 5 a.m. until noon, and then it was just wrestling and all the time.
Damn. So full on schedule kind of clicked right
Yeah,
off the bat there.
and when I eventually would be lucky enough to be working at FCW, people would be like, so harder than the indies, huh? And I thought, no, this is like, honestly, like half the schedule I had at in Kentucky when I wasn't being paid and wrestling for free and learning, like
Yeah.
much more demanding there at first. So wait, am I answering your question or did I just start rambling?
No, I mean, the question, yeah, was just like, when did you kind of decide to make the move into wrestling? And yeah, absolutely, that was it. And you know what? That's actually perfect time. You got started. Cheers to that. Let's take this time. Let's get into that first sample, and let's try some of this whiskey.
So is this that would be A?
A, yeah. I always screw it. I'm like, sample 1, A. I don't remember what I label these are.
First, I assume first is A, definitely. So
yeah.
Let me decide. Okay, so I have 2 glasses, and then I have a special little Harry Potter glass that my mom got me. Which one?
There you go. Whatever you want. I mean, it's all kosher. You drink whiskey how you want. You're the first person to have a different glass for each one.
Oh, I could use the same one for each one, but I'm not going to use this one, but it's a little shot glass I got this weekend as a gift from my friends at the Ybor City supermarket.
Ybor City.
And I'm also wearing their shirt they gave me. Wonderful friends, Phantom Sam, that run that shop. If you're in Tampa, stop by, buy something.
Absolutely, dude. Fond memories of Ybor City.
Love Ybor City, and they have a lot of wild chickens, feral chickens that live around that part of town. So that's why there's a chicken.
Hence the chicken. For those on the audio format, there is a chicken across across the breastbone of one Ryan Nemeth.
Damn straight. All right, I'm pouring.
So pour that out, and after you pour it out, you want to get whiskey nerdy about this. I'll pour a little something out here too. Just put it in the glass. Give it a sniff. That sounds really weird and strange, but this is a weird and strange world that you're entering. So kind of smell it, see what you think. I know it's going to be like alcohol, but is it kind of sweet? Does it seem bitter? Does it seem a lot? Is it super hot? Is it a little bit more mild? What do you think?
All right. I'm trying to get a fresh, clean nose and then go in there.
Little tip: if you want a fresh, clean nose, smell your own skin.
Okay.
It neutralizes the scents in your nose.
This might not work because I smell so good.
Like freaking laundry.
I smell awesome. All right. Maybe a little sweet, but I got to compare it to the others. So for now, I'll say it's a little sweet. And it seems all right.
Stands on each of these stand on their own, though. You'll see.
This is not the kind of, and I'm very uneducated about this type of alcohol. This is not like making me go, oh, like not punching me in the face with strong booze smell.
All right, good. Not overly strong. That's a good note. And go ahead and give it a sip.
How much of a sip am I doing here?
Just a little one. Just like little. Because, I mean, it is still out. You don't want it to look totally like, oh, boom. Because I want you to let it sit on your tongue a little bit.
All right. So it's reminding me of the times that people have served me like fancy whiskey. Is this whiskey, technically?
Yes, these are all bourbon whiskeys.
Great question. That's how you know how much I know about this. It's reminding me. It seems fancy. That would be my thing. But then I might think everything's fancy. I liked it. It was all right. It, again, did not feel like I'm drinking poison like I sometimes feel like drinking booze.
Okay. So, yeah, it was very palatable.
Palatable, yeah.
Yeah. It seems sweet on the nose. Did it seem kind of sweet when you tasted it, too?
Let me try again and keep that in mind. All right, Skin smell. Nice. Dude, good. You guys should do a show reviewing my skin sometime.
I mean, send me a sample?
I can do that. Yeah, I would say it seems a little sweet, yeah.
Okay. Is there like, one thing we talk about a lot in whiskey stuff is what's called the finish, which is after you've already swallowed it, yeah. Just like in wrestling, it's all about the finish. after you swallow it, like if it still is kind of lingering, like on the roof of your mouth and the
Yeah.
back of your throat, still kind of hanging out
Velvety. I
there.
would say it's a little velvety.
Ooh, look at you.
Let me do one more with that. So each thing you name, I have to kind of like think about it. Skin. All right. Let the record show the man smelled his forearm.
Yeah, nose, palate is how it tastes, and then finish is how it kind of, because sometimes the taste can change a little bit.
It seems, I think velvety is the word I'll stay with. It feels like it's kind of coating the inside of my mouth and hanging out there for a minute.
Love it. Velvety.
Yeah. Right up in the mic.
Oh yeah, we're doing that whiskey ASMR. That velvety whiskey. Okay, cool. That's actually interesting considering what it is. We'll talk about that later.
I wish that's interesting because that's not at all true. Thanks, Ryan. Bye. See ya.
Who is this guy? Yeah. No, it's better when it's not true. That's kind of the whole point of this show. It's like I tell
Oh,
people all this time. I mean, if I end up, there's a couple people I'm going to talk with who do like actually whiskey, but I'm like, it's almost better when they don't. It's like sometimes when you talk about wrestling with non-wrestling fans, and you're like, hey, watch this. What do you think is good and bad? And you sometimes get different opinions. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh,
oh, dude. I think the opinion of a wrestling fan is useless. I think the opinion of someone who doesn't watch wrestling is the most valuable one you can have.
super, yeah, super valuable. It's very. I mean, it's so much more helpful.
They just come in fresh and go, well,
That doesn't make sense.
okay, a champion.
Yeah.
I don't understand. And you're like, well, if you watched it, you would like, okay, I don't, so I'm not going to anymore. See it, or they're like, that guy's the best. That girl is amazing.
You so I don't know if you said your family did like wrestling. So do your parents big like pro wrestling fans?
My dad was always a huge fan. My mom, enjoys it when it's on, and knowing that either my brother or I are on,
Okay.
be more into it. Very unhappy when we lose. Like, man, so
Yes,
now
yes.
imagine being the mother of Dolph Ziggler. That is a rough life. Man.
Well, imagine being the mother of Aiden English. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
far up, and it's funny. Like they know that they know they know all the whole deal, but there's they still get very. So my because my mother that the reason I asked is like my parents were never wrestling fans. They knew I liked it. They never ever watch it,
Okay.
and so they had that valuable kind of. It was always interesting. Sometimes I'd come home from TV or whatever, or even when it was NXT and stuff, and I my mom would watch it because like I was on or was losing to somebody else. And first of all, yes, you get the classic like you're better than that guy to everybody, right? Yeah, that was. But she would have interesting things. She'd be like, I don't get so and so, and I'd be like, why? She'd be like, well, what is this look he's doing, and like why is he talking like that? And sometimes she was a little off, but it was interesting always to get her like, huh. Like, yeah, that is kind of weird. I never thought of that because I've seen him do that for years because I've trained with that guy and I know it and I see him
I
doing it on
like
TV.
when they ask, why is that guy in all the good matches? And the real answer is, well, because he behind the scenes buys presents and golf clubs for the coaches and kisses ass and is just like a general ass kisser. But that doesn't translate to the common viewer who only
Yeah, no.
well, because
That
he buys watches and golf clubs for his boss, so he gets a promotion, just like in real life. But
yeah, yeah. The politics of dancing, folks.
my mom and dad love to get involved with the show. There's a time when my brother was wrestling Sandow a lot on like Raw, and they were in Cleveland. And I think at some point my brother threw Sandow into the barricade, and my dad had a just big Miller Lite just full in the front row, and he just dumped it all over Sandow's head. And this was just because he decided like this is Nick's opponent. Screw
Yeah.
you. And then there's another time on live TV in which I believe it was Kofi Kingston who held my brother by both arms and just happened to turn towards my mother, who was again in the front row, and she decided of her own volition to slap my brother in the face on live on Monday Night Raw.
Really?
And
I don't remember this. Really?
yeah, all these things happened. And then
That's
on a
awesome.
much smaller scale, when I was released from NXT, I was doing my first indie show wrestling against Tracy Smothers in Cleveland. When Tracy cut this promo and says, now, which one are you, the cheerleader or the one who's not even good enough to be the cheerleader? Like something like that, you know?
Oh
And
God.
now you just got fired, right? And the whole crowd in Cleveland starts chanting, "You got fired!" And it's just like so loud, and I'm playing it up like, what the hell? I turn around and see my mother screaming at the top of her lungs, "You got fired!" And I just thought, dude, come on, you're my mom.
Yeah,
This sucks. And
give
afterwards,
me,
I asked her,
yeah.
I'm like,
That's
"Were you chanting
fantastic.
with them?" And she was, "It's part of the show, okay?" I was getting into it. And I was like, all right, that's a fair answer. Cool. So that's how much they like wrestling. Yeah.
Fair enough. So it's actually, that leads me to another question. You talked about Damien Sandow, Aaron.
Yeah.
Um, you guys,
You should have a show with him. You should have him out one time.
I trust me, I'm building a list. Um, I mean, you guys were pretty close, right? In NXT time, like how did you guys? Because you ended up rooming together, I believe, and stuff
Dude,
too. So how did you guys kind of become friends? And because you're still buddies, right?
very close. Yeah.
Yeah. How did that come about?
The first time I met him was after a show at OVW, after like maybe the big Saturday night special show or something. We were at a bar called Diamonds, I think. And Serena was hanging out with my crew of friends all week. It was all of her old friends from Kentucky. And then Sandow, who was just Aaron Stevens at the time, just returned from Puerto Rico. And I think he was on his way to rejoining WWE to go to FCW. And so he was like standing around with her because they knew each other very well. And she said, "Oh, Aaron, this is Nick's little brother Ryan." And he does not remember this being this way, but like, oh wait, he said, "This is Ryan." She said, "This is Ryan." And I said, "Hey, very nice to meet you." And he kind of, man, he is someone who's like the epitome of the wrestler guy who like, if he doesn't know you, is like very kind of closed off. And the minute there's like some connection, whether it's OVW or a family friend or something, it's like best friends right away. So like, he's like, "Hi, very nice to meet you, Ryan." And like kind of looked away, and I was like, "Oh man, all right." And then she said, "It's Nick's little brother." "Oh, hey, all right. So you're in Rip's class?" Yeah. Just instantly started talking about Rip Rogers and Danny Davis, and all the connections we had. And then, so I started at FCW the day after the WrestleMania, in which was in Atlanta, and John Cena and The Miz headlined, whatever number that was.
27.
27.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone else watching this is going, "How do you not know that, Ryan?" Well, right.
And the only reason I know it is because I was at that WrestleMania at Access working backstage as a talent escort.
Wow. Oh, dude, I wonder if we walked past each other. We must have at some
Because
point.
I was in Florida at that exact time. I was in Florida taking Steve Kern's beginner's class.
Oh, that is fascinating.
Yeah, at that exact time.
So I would meet Steve Kern for the second time that weekend, and Dr. Tom for the second time. I met them when I would go visit Nick. So Serena I kept in touch with, was a very good friend of mine, and she was all excited that I was being hired to FCW, and I was asking her for apartment advice, and she said, "Why don't you see if you can crash at Santino's place for a couple weeks until you get on your feet?" And Aaron was his roommate also at the time. And I thought, okay, sure. And this is a man I've never met before, but so we walked past each other very quickly. And he said, "Oh, yeah, you're little Nemeth. So you're moving into my house. Cool. Nice to meet you." And just walked off. And I thought, there's just such a bond between people who came from OVW, the alumni of that place. It was just like, "I've never met you before, but sure, crash on my couch for a couple weeks until you figure it out. See ya." Like, just fully trusting that would be fine. So that is where I became friends with Aaron. And then we became, we're still friends this day. I just talked to him earlier.
Yeah. No, it is. It's funny. There's like this weird like gypsies code where the rest of you've been through certain like territories, kind of things like that. It's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. So the next, like after NXT and stuff like that, you talk about sometimes these decisions. You're like, "Yeah, well, this is probably dumb and is a huge long shot, and I don't know if it's gonna work," but and you talk about doing like, "Oh, I have to choose wrestling or movies and acting and stuff like that." Well, MFer, you end up doing both of them. And so at what point,
you can do whatever you
want. No kid, it turns out there is some autonomy in life. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But you end up kind of making it, you end up going to LA. When was, that's my big question. I want to know like what leading up to that was like, okay, what made you make that decision and said, "Yeah, I'm going to do the LA thing"?
Under the impression that I was doing so well and like getting great reviews and improving and making all these strides in NXT. And then as I would find out, all those great reviews were being meticulously altered before they were turned into whoever they got turned into. Whatever. We wouldn't have to get into that part of it, but I got released to great surprise of me, my brother, and anyone else I knew in that entire company. You know, including writers and production people who. The next TV taping were messaging me, "Hey, where are you? We need to film your promo segment."
Of
And
frickin' course.
I said, "Oh, I got fired last week," and they're like, "What? We have like 3 segments for you." I'm like, "Well, okay, I guess someone else can have them." Sorry. So that's and the company. I had like other obligations. I was supposed to go talk at multiple schools the week after I got fired. And I remember the amazing Canyon Seaman emailing me and saying, "Hey, we still want you to go do this appearance at this elementary school, and we know you just got released, but like what the children know won't hurt them. So if you'd like to still go, we'd appreciate it." And I'm reading this email thinking, what do you mean what the children don't know won't hurt them? They all have a phone with the internet on it, and it was widely just spread out, all the people that got released. Number 2, that school is several hours round trip. I'm not getting paid for this. So you want me to imagine if I did that, the great story of how Ryan Nemeth went to a school, lied to a bunch of kids for 3 hours, drove back, lost money on it, lost gas. Like that would be insane. I was just reading this email thinking, this company just sucks, dude. I know you
multi-million-dollar company asks recently let go employee to continue working for free.
Not only continue working, but for free, yeah, unpaid.
And lying to children.
Yeah. Lie to kids, yeah. And one of the teachers there contacted me and said, "Hey, they said you're still coming." And I said, "I am not still coming. Sorry, guys. Like, I don't work there anymore. This is unfortunate, but like, that's on them. I mean, I had these things set up, you know." And then they said they're trying to send us a few other wrestlers, and they sent us some names. We said we really like Briley. He's the one who always comes to talk to the kids. Love him. That's who we wanted. So no thanks. And like they told WWE like, we're pretty upset about this. It was the day of, and I never showed up or something. And they were like, "Let's make it up to you. We'll send you so and so and this guy and this guy." And they said, "Well, we don't want those people. And also, you just had us wait for several hours in the homeroom with no wrestler showing up, and we just found out he got fired. Like, what is wrong with you people? Why would you?" It was just insane, crazy.
Yeah.
So that was what I did after there's more. So, I had like instantly moved. I spent a month in Tampa just kind of enjoying the beach and hanging out with Trent Beretta and EC3 and whoever else is still around. And then it became like quickly, even like a few days later, way too brutal to live in a house with touring, WWE wrestlers when your dream has just been snatched away from you. It just was so brutal. And I was trying to figure out my next moves. And I remember Sami Zayn saying, "Well, don't worry, you'll just dominate the indies for 3 years and then come back. They'll take you back." And I thought, like, that mindset seems so pathetic to me. Not of him, but if I would say, "Well, what can I do to be taken back?"
Yeah, yes, I get that.
I couldn't fathom the notion of like spending the next 3 years trying to kiss the ass of the assholes who just basically treated me like shit. Like, I know like a lot of people do that and they can wrap their mind around it, but I just thought if they don't want me, someone else will, and I will succeed. And I will succeed somewhere. I don't like this is no longer a place that I feel like I have to walk on broken glass and like not make a noise and be scared all the time and you pretend I still work there even though I don't, just so they'll like look back and go, "Well, last year did he speak ill of us on a podcast? Because if he did, we shan't give him another chance." Like,
yeah,
fuck that, dude. Again, I know a lot of people do behave that way, but like that's not me. That's not for me. So I, within a month, I think just with very little reason to, or like things waiting for me, showed up in LA. And again, did the thing of living on a couch for a few weeks and then kind of figured out my way. And I'm really glad I did. And that was a very rough first couple of years, but I have made a lot of friends and connections and learned a lot and got very, very, very heavy into improv, live comedy, acting, comedic and dramatic and commercial. And when I felt comfortable again, got a little bit back into wrestling slowly but surely. And the past few years have been really, really productive here with acting, wrestling, stunts. Even during COVID, I was like really busy with stunt coordinating for shows that wanted to do an episode about wrestling, or music video that wanted to do about wrestling, or literally a movie that is about wrestling. Like, I've been very lucky to have a lot of work during COVID time. And
Are
a
you
lot of,
union?
yes, yeah. I became SAG a couple of years ago, and I got back into the day job of personal training and would make a lot of friends and industry connections that way. So almost right away I did like an improv set at WrestleMania the year after I got released, like at a comedy club down the street. And the producers of Swerved were there because they had just decided they were going to make a prank show with WWE. And Jeff Tremaine, the father of Jackass and all that stuff, and the new movie Bad Trip, go see it or Netflix it, was in the crowd, and Nick was like picked to be the host of Swerve, my brother, and they said, "Who, dude? Your brother's way funnier than you. We need to get him involved in the show." I remember him being like, "Yeah, okay." Of course he is, but yes, we should. So afterwards, I met the whole Jackass crew that came there, and the guy was like, we need to like come to my office, when you're back in town. And so I met with him and then got involved with writing for Swerve. And that was kind of a weird feeling to like be massively funny in this company, but then you're not good enough to work here, but yes, please write our funny show for us and be on it sometimes. Like, that was just so funny to me. And I always wondered, like, does Triple H or anyone in this company know that I used to work? Like, of course they don't. They don't know anything that's happening there. That's not, whatever. And then I got pretty in with him and he became a personal training client of mine, which made it like if he was directing a commercial, he might suggest me to audition for it. I've got a lot of work through him. He made a lot of friends and stuff. And it's been really productive, man. Shot my own big budget short film, which is in festivals now. Been in a lot of commercials, been in like a strange collection of other things, TV and film, and have for some reason out of nowhere I wrestle for AEW now. But it's all like, it's just things like you said that I guess I brought up earlier, but I don't remember. But I think because you said it, you just do things, just try it. It's probably not going to work, but try it,
May as well.
That's basically what any audition is ever, or any pitch meeting, or maybe I want to write this movie, but it'll never get made. Who cares? Write it anyways. And I literally have produced an award-winning short film based on that. Like, you just do it, dude.
Hell yeah. And you know what? We're going to get to that. But before that, that's good. Let's get into sample B. I think I said it right this time.
Okay, so I'm going to use this clear glass right here. So this is the sample I have the most of. The package that showed up, there was a mishap.
There, you know what? And you're not the only one. I need to get I think I need to get different bottles because the problem is they have a pop top because I think they're for like shampoo, and I think because the screw they all say it, but I think the little pop top keeps coming out. So I got to get different bottles.
Send them in the real bottle because then I'll know what they are.
Exactly. Well, and also I know what little sample bottles to use, but the best ones are glass, and like they ended up weighing like 6-7 more ounces, and then it like doubles your shipping price. So I wanted little plastic ones, but I didn't realize when I ordered these ones that they had a pop top. I thought they were just a screw top because a screw top on its own works better. But
have you thought about just getting just a regular envelope, just pouring whiskey in, sealing it, putting it on, and just mailing it, shipping it off, man? That might work.
Well, I have now.
All right, so I'm gonna pour all of this into the glass. This is sample B.
Yeah, and you are not obligated to drink all of it by any means. Just like I said, we're just getting a little.
Not a big drinker.
Snippet.
I know that.
Yeah, that's good. When you go out or whatever, like what is your drink of choice?
Usually, honestly, these days I will drink water or nothing. Water or like go out. It's funny. I don't go out. Nothing's open, dude. I don't know.
Well, yeah, okay.
But if I'm gonna have like if I would go in the good old days of the world being open, there's a club in LA that I like. It's a goth vampire club called Bar Sinister, and I would go there and I would drink. I'll give you a few options here. Usually I don't drink beers anymore, but if it was beers back then, it would be a Corona. Yeah, 'cause that just sounds fun when you put lime in it. It's like a little lime taste. It reminds
Oh
me of the
yeah.
beach. But if I would drink booze, it would be either Red Bull and vodka, which is not anything anyone wants to hear. But sometimes I just want to go out and dance to goth music all night, and that fires me up.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But if someone, usually when my friends order the drink, they don't order that. They order it's just the most common drink people order at bars. I'm forgetting what the liquid is.
Jack and Coke.
No, it's vodka and like something bubbly, tonic, not tonic water. What is the bubbly water?
There's tonic or soda water, vodka soda.
Vodka soda.
Yeah.
Didn't think about vodka soda. Yeah. Usually, if I'm not the one ordering, that'll be what's presented to me. But if I'm picking, I would pick. Oh, dude, there's a bar right by Second City that's connected to Bar Sinister called Bordner's. They always have deals on some version of a Moscow Mule. I like those. Those are pretty fun.
Ooh, yeah, Moscow Mule's good. Absolutely.
So, as you can see, I never ordered bourbon or whiskey or anything at all like that. So this is all very new to me.
Yes, the brown spirits, and they're having a moment in the alcohol world. I mean, vodkas and everything's still dominant, but like whiskey, especially like American whiskey, is like super kind of trendy right now. Especially like whiskey cocktails and stuff are kind of coming back around
I knew
into.
a girl from Bardstown, Kentucky, and I went to school with her, Courtney. She would always say, "I'm from Bardstown, Kentucky, the bourbon capital of the world." Is that true?
It's like
Whoa,
kind of. No, no, no. Like Bardstown is known for bourbon, but like by now, like Louisville has a bunch of stuff. But the major distilleries have kind of expanded into other Claremont, Frankfurt, outside Lexington, Lawrenceburg. All these. Kentucky's for sure like the biggest producer of bourbon on the planet, obviously. But Bardstown's got a couple of big distilleries for sure. Like they are kind of like the what was the word? Mesopotamia, the Fertile Crescent of that's right where it all started blowing up, and then it kind of went all over Kentucky.
There was someone else I knew who was from Owensboro, and they would say, "I'm from the barbecue capital of the world." And at that point, I thought, is Kentucky just people just claiming cities
to be the capital of everything? I'm from the cat capital of the world.
And this girl I knew from Pikesville, Kentucky, would say, "We're the coal mining capital of the world." And I just thought, come on, dude, like, which one of these is true? I always thought Courtney was telling the truth about the bourbon, but maybe it was when she was a kid. It was maybe
like it is like again. It's like the honorary capital because it was the birthplace. It's where a lot of it all kind of really started, and has a long history, probably longer than any other city in Kentucky. So she's not wrong. But like today though, there are other cities that produce just as much. So like as far as like how much is made there are other cities that make the same amount and stuff like that. But it is like the historical kind of.
When I lived in Louisville, they had a brewery called BBC. I don't remember what that stood for, but
I know what it stands for.
What's it stand for?
Wait, there's a lewd term. The BBC?
No, it's not. No, it was about like beer. It was like brewing something blue beer brewing. It was not. Not the English news channel is what I'm sure you're referring to.
No, I was going to make that joke too. I'm referring to the basically I know. Pornographic variety.
I've seen your search history. I understand what you're referring to. They would have beers that were aged in bourbon barrels.
Yeah. Yep.
Man,
that's very popular.
So good. Okay, so
yeah, sample B. Yes.
All right, sniff it first.
Yeah, give it a sniff.
Sniff my arm.
Sniff your arm.
Well, this seems even less like in my face and pungent than the other one.
Than the last one. All right.
But I'm trying to
sweeter, more bitter, things like that.
I'll say just right off the bat, I can get my whole nose in this glass comfortably without feeling like alcohol is burning me.
Okay. Good. Not a ton of ethanol and everything. That's good.
Oh, that's what that is? All right.
I think.
I think I got to sip it now
Okay,
because I don't know if I can detect anything else. Okay,
by
here we
all
go.
means.
So I take a bite of my arm and then I sip it.
Lick your arm.
Okay, I think the same quality will go for the sip as for the smell or the aroma. It's like so much easier for me to drink than the other
Okay,
one. Like not as boozy or what we think maybe ethanol. It's like
sure.
I could drink at a bar comfortably. The other one I don't. I probably could not have.
Okay, it was a little
'Cause
little too strong.
I'm a little baby. I need something.
Hot Young Briley, which is still your handle on Twitter.
And it doesn't leave what I thought the other one was doing. The leaving
The lingering finish kind of thing.
finish. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah. It's a quicker finish.
yeah.
Hey, a lot of what I'm saying might not be true, but this is what I think.
No, it is true because you're experiencing it. Whether it gels
Oh,
with
you're
what other people
describing
view.
all reality. Oh my god.
Yeah, you can't be wrong here. That's
Now,
the beauty.
what about my thoughts on how the last election went? If I think it went a certain way,
Yeah, as we've seen,
in your world, Joe Biden is the president. In mine,
yes,
50-50
not
this.
yeah, absolutely.
It's a good time. I like this one.
Okay, good. No, good to know. All right, we'll have one more in a little bit, but before that, you alluded to it earlier. One of the big things I wanted to know, I want to hear. Let's hear about heel. I mean,
Honestly,
like,
I don't really want to talk about that.
what's that? No, okay, forget it. So, what do you like to collect?
Uh,
Shut up.
honestly,
I don't
bourbon.
care. I don't care. Yeah.
I'm secretly some big expert. Yeah, heel is the thing I'm most proud of in my entire life. I cannot believe it happened, and somehow we're in the midst of film festivals out of a thing that I just like typed one day on my computer. Like it's so nuts, man.
Yeah. Again, you don't have to give like the entire like 4 year, but I mean like kind of the bullet points. Like, where did the idea come from? Obviously, it's a movie
All right.
based in the world of wrestling and stuff like that. But
Hey, nearby I have a poster. One of the prints we did. We did 20 prints that I've been selling to
oh,
people.
nice, hell yeah.
It was designed by a woman in Germany who makes movie posters. I wanted her to, so I wanted this movie. I'll tell you everything, but just based on this poster, I thought of something. I wanted it to be shot and directed, and when you view it, feel like you're watching sort of a horror film. I didn't want you to feel like this is an action movie about wrestling. I wanted you to be kind of uncomfortable and a little disturbed. And so I wanted her to, I gave her all my favorite horror film posters and some screenshots from the movie, some stills, and she made this. And I think it's just so perfect, dude.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the thing, the cover of the
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
The light, the silhouette, it's really effective in its, and I'm a big fan of like almost minimalism, simplicity, but
Yeah.
it's still very
Yeah.
effective. Yeah.
This is, I autographed. This is not part of the, like, imagine that's not there, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm just so happy about this. Yeah, it's very simple, and sometimes designers are like bummed out when you tell them what you want because they just have all these other things in mind. She was very cool about this, but I'll just be very candid. She sent me a bunch of like mock-ups of different ideas she had based on what we talked about, and some of them were just barely a little more complex. And I thought, I don't want any of that stuff. I want people to just see this, see it. It's about wrestling, and it looks a little not fun, kind of like fun to watch,
Yeah.
but it's not going to make you feel good. I wanted that to be clear. This is not a feel good wrestling movie.
Yeah.
So I was dabbling in the indies for a while after a few years of living in LA and making a lot of friends, having fun. And like when I would cross paths with like people like Trent or the guy now known as Luchasaurus, or even do shows with Bronson, our old buddy, or Sandow and Morrison, like those were very fun and made some new friends. But like one day I kind of got a lot of like really bad information dumped on me by some of the women that I was becoming friends with on the indies. And I had to just instantly make a decision. Do I want to keep sort of like endorsing certain bad figures in this business or not, because now I felt like I now know some bad stuff about some people. And I feel that now that I know that a can of worms has been opened where I cannot be on a show with this person or ran by this person without feeling like I'm helping bad shit go down. And it's basically based on assault and abuse of women. And also, it's a rough position because you can't, as someone who just like was told things by someone, go, "Hey, everybody, here's what I know now." You can't. And so, I mean, I tried to do that at some other point in the past, and with some of those NXT girls who were like, "You don't work anymore. Can you please say something about whatever topic this is?" And I just thought, sure, no problem. And then instantly, it's just so shitty of a scenario to be put in, because then the girls will be like, "Hey, they're threatening our jobs if you don't delete that." And it's like, oh, okay, cool. So delete, because I want you to not be fired. But also, I now look like I just am the boy crying wolf. And then I'm told that, hey, Hunter is telling everyone at TV that you're making up stories and that you're a liar and you're just mad you don't have a job here anymore. And it's like, oh, was it really a good idea to just impulsively, announce this thing? I guess not, but maybe. Anyways, I knew that this time around, I can't really do that because there is no good outcome. Whether whatever happens, there's not a good outcome. And probably it will just enable that perpetrator to keep getting away with it more, because I will just seem like a liar. When someone has a lot of fans and one person, me, says, "Hey, here's something they do that's bad," those fans will not believe you. Those fans will just pile on and dox you and call you a liar and say, like, we know this. This is just like 101. So I thought some things I can do is completely separate myself from that scenario and that person and those people. And I did a few things. I started running my own indie shows in LA, which has in the city of Los Angeles kind of not been done ever. I started running weeknights at a rock and roll club. We had a show called Nuclear Heat that I was running with my girlfriend at the time, Anna. We made it very inclusive and said, like, made it very clear, women are safe here. It's run by a woman. This is not going to be a place that you need to come and feel like you have to do certain things to get booked, or feel uncomfortable like you're going to get assaulted or harassed while you're in the locker room. Like, that shit's not happening here. This is very safe, inclusive, and also we're raising money for charities or whatever. We raise money for rehab houses for victims of sex trafficking or whatever. Like, I just thought, like, I don't want to be part of whatever anymore, but I do want to do something good with the little special network of very talented and amazing wrestlers that I know. So we were running some hot shows, man. We we're the first real company that was running like sweet, cool rock and roll style indie shows in a nightclub in LA, like, ever, or at least since I have lived here. Certain companies have gone on to completely steal that idea later on, but at the time it was us. And then I thought, like, what else can I do? Because this is kind of like a temporary band-aid for it, but I really want to like do something more. And I thought, like, can I make a movie about this? Just like a fictional movie based on some kind of real themes and events, and kind of get like a conversation going. And hopefully this will be the first crack in the thing that like opens up people going like, "Hey, that movie's pretty messed up, dude. Is that true?" Well, actually, and maybe encourage people to speak, or maybe encourage just fans to be more open-minded. And the time I'm writing this, that was unheard of, because there were just such untouchable people on the indies who basically were kind of never being held accountable for anything, because you couldn't be, because the minute someone says something, you're in a different city. Like, there's no, like, it's not like WWE where there's one dome of like people working in one little, it's just you're like a cowboy traveling wherever, and you can just lead a life of never getting in trouble for bad shit you're doing. So crowdfunded it in 30 days, raised a gigantic budget. Thank you very much for supporting it and backing it. You personally also. Huge support from like basically anyone I've ever like come across in wrestling, which was so great, because people will say how like fickle and shitty friendships and relationships in wrestling are, and in entertainment, but like I do feel that I have uniquely amassed an amazing group of friends, and like just even people I'll see once every few years, where hey, I'm making a movie about, harassment and assault in wrestling. Would you re-share that for me or whatever? And bam, of course they will, because the people care and they're nice. I'm saying there are some bad people in wrestling that I don't want to be friends with, but I think I've made some good friends.
Well, absolutely, and really quick before you continue, it's just, I mean,
Yeah.
not only that's true. I mean, there is when you find the right people, like there's a reason everybody still says brother, despite not liking the guy who made it popular.
Yeah.
It's because there is that kind of tight knit thing, but also don't discount, and this is my chance to like flatter you. Uh, don't discount like you come asking like, hey, I'm going to do this project. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's always like, yeah, well, I'll share it, I'll do this and everything. But like when you
Yeah.
get people like giving out money for it, yeah, maybe there's a certain contingent of people who will always be like, yeah, I'll be happy to support. But like
Hmm.
that's because they know you are at the helm of it. They know
Yeah.
what you can do, and they know that it's going to be good. Like, is no if you like, hey, I'm gonna go be a movie writer, and they're just like, are you sure? Like, they're not. Are you sure about that, Ryan? Like that kind of feeling. And then you come to them like, hey, I got this idea. I'm gonna write this movie. Are you sure? Like, if they had that kind of feeling, they're not going to be
Yeah.
like, yes, absolutely, please. Where's the Kickstarter?
Yeah.
Where's this? So the fact that people were enthusiastic is a testament to them knowing what you're capable of based on what you've done and just your level of talent.
And
So
that's not the case if I just do it instantly when I move to LA. Like it's based on kind of proving myself with other things. I've done other short films. The director I was lucky enough to have on board, she has an amazing resume and like a great reel. And also the issue is something that a lot of people just have known about but never knew the right way to like address it. And so I think or have had experiences with it. So people see that and go, dude, this needs to be made, and some people backed it like so hugely financially that I can't even believe it. Samantha Pitchell, this wrestling fan who I've become friends with afterwards, gigantic financial backing to where I was like, I woke up and saw it the day after the campaign ended and thought, holy shit, this is the reason we crossed the threshold because you just thought I care about this enough that I'm just like, thank you, Samantha. And then people like Matt Cardona, my brother Ruby Riot, and other friends, Luke Harper, Brody Lee and Mrs. Brody Lee, Amanda, Sean Spears, Tyler Bree, like people sort of unexpectedly just like tossing in giant chunks of money because they thought this is important and we believe that you could do this because of your resume and because we know you. So thank you for your flattery, but also like just liking someone isn't enough. You got to prove this possible. So I did like months and months after I wrote the script, before I was like ready to do the crowdfund. I didn't just randomly go Kickstarter, let's go. I like studied hardcore crowdfunding and met with some people that I knew that had successful ones. Took all of Emily Best's like Seed and Spark classes. Like I just got hardcore obsessed into like how can I the minute I hit launch, I want this to be like guaranteed happening. I don't and then I had to become the most annoying person in the world for 30 days. But it's worth it. And everybody gets one. You get one crowdfund. You can't do more than one because then you suck. But so successful and really happy. But then the trick is, okay, you have the money. Now you have to make this, you have
yeah,
to deliver this promise. So we did somehow against many unforeseen accidents and horrible odds, but it happened. And then COVID hit, and we had to delay film festival submissions for a year or like a season, I guess. Dude, crazy. But we had extra time to like fine tune it. So it was a bummer to like have this delayed basically an entire film season, but I had to pull it out of some, and like some festivals were pretty pissed because they wanted to pro. I was like, we just want to wait a year, man. Sorry. But and then interestingly enough, the speaking out movement happened basically in wrestling. Uh, as we were pulling it out of festivals, then that kind of organically happened online. I think because people are just sitting home with the COVID thing happening. And I think a lot of people started to think, well, I have nothing else going on, and this is really bothering me, so I'm going to say something. And like a lot of people did, many people did. And I thought, well, this is great that this is finally coming out organically. And now I feel less apprehensive about my movie because I was really worried that this movie is going to be very polarizing. A lot of people will be very happy and like it, and other people will be like, "Who is this motherfucker? Am I allowed to swear in this?
Yeah.
Who is this
You already
motherfucker?"
have.
Oh, okay. It was going to be very divided, But then when speaking out happened, I thought, like, what a relief. I'm saying this it's a strange thing to say, but it's nice that that started happening already, because now this movie will be more welcomed as a thing that's not just out of nowhere to fans. So yeah. Whenever this airs, the movie will be probably streaming by then at the Orlando Film Festival. I think it's maybe going to be timed up with that or a little bit earlier. That one will be online. A lot of them are online. So
Okay. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I just
Yeah.
went to my first in-person one this past weekend. That was
How'd it
cool.
go?
Dude, seeing it on a giant screen was just
Unreal, huh?
Yeah, I've only watched it on a phone, on a computer. The biggest thing I've seen on so far was Mrs. Home Theater, which, that's very big for a house, but it's not a movie. It's not really a movie. To see it on a gigantic movie screen and to have it like look and sound so amazing was just so rewarding. It felt like 2 years plus of work in one little viewing, just being really worth it, man. It felt awesome. It was great.
That's fantastic. Well, that's a perfect. I love hearing that. Let's finish off with sample C.
Okay, C is.
We'll toast to that. Absolutely.
So now, smelling my arm. Let the audio guys know. What do you tell those people? Listener only, or
yeah, he is now smelling his arm once again, vigorously.
Okay, this one is more pungent.
Okay.
More in my face.
Then number 2.
More than number 2. Number 1, I don't remember. Let's see. Oh, I don't want to compare. I want to mix things up. Okay. Well, there seems to be something about this that I can't call sweet, but I don't know what to call it. Just by smelling, still, just smelling. Something's going on though. There's something different.
Unique.
I think it's unique. All right, I'm going in for a taste.
Okay.
Okay, it's got more of a lingering thing than the second one. Now I'm feeling this one right here a little bit. Lingering in my little...
In the throat?
The throat, yeah. Is that a common thing or no?
Yeah, I mean, can be, depending on especially certain things kind of travel further and stuff like that. Again,
it's like going in my nose every time. It's like really, really popping out of the glass there.
Okay. So that is more of the stronger alcohol, I mean, to you?
I think so. Unless in the shipping the samples have mixed somehow, then I don't know what the hell is going on.
No, I don't think they might have spilled a little bit, but I don't think they're gonna like mutate together and mix together. I don't think you have to worry about that.
So this one, I think, felt like the most of what we suspect may be the ethanol.
Okay.
Or whatever that feeling would be, or that powerful aroma.
Yeah.
I think. Dang, I can't remember how velvety I thought the first one was compared to this one. The second one was the most palatable and mild in that respect. Mm-hmm. And the second one had a little sweetness to it, I think. This one has something to it that I don't think I know the word for. So I'm interested to find out what this is all about.
Okay. So if you had to rank them then, and just like first, second, third, what would you do?
The second one the most.
Okay.
Dang, to choose between the first and the third, I might have to try the first one again. Will I be able to tell, do you think?
I think you'll be able to, I think you'll be reminded of like, oh yeah, okay, man, I like that one more. That's always something easy to do. Just take a little sip and just be like, oh, okay.
So I'll do one more sip of the last one. All right. I'll do that most recent one, a little sip, and then I'll go back to the first one.
Okay. Number 3 up first. Most recent one.
Here's the first one. I like the first one more.
Okay.
So I would choose
2, 1, 3.
2, 1, 3.
From first to last.
Oh wait, I drank what I thought was the first one, but it was the second one. So I'm just
Oh.
reaffirming it like the second one. Hang on. All right, I'm going back to the first one.
Okay.
I think I still would keep that order. I'd say second one, favorite, first one, second favorite, third one, least favorite.
Okay. There we go. So 2, 1, 3. All right. So the people at home have seen these. As I edit it, they will be kind of faded, and they will see what you're drinking as you're drinking it. But
Those bastards.
I know they get to laugh at you, especially like the real whiskey geeks. They get to laugh. That's part of the fun too. They get to be like, "Oh my god," and they get to see what people think
Oh,
of
this
some of
is
their
so
favorite.
funny. Now, you
um,
guys think I'm such a fool.
yeah, but it's okay. We're all snobs in this community. We're all a bunch of jerks. So, yeah, you know what? This time I'll do it. Normally I just go in order. This time I'll go 3, 2, 1 for you, like last place. So last place, the one you were kind of on the fence with between 1 and 3. This is number 3. It is the Blaum Brothers Bourbon Whiskey. Oh, and by the way, so you, my theme with you was, since your Twitter handle is still Hot Young Briley, and now you go by the Hollywood Hunk. You're very very full of yourself and like your youthful looks and everything like that. So all of these whiskeys are relatively young for considering the whiskey. These are all young, which sometimes can be bad in whiskey, but I don't think it's as bad as some people
Wait,
think.
what do you mean young? That they've like not been aged for decades?
Yeah, so like whiskey has to be aged by no, actually no, it doesn't. But bourbon has to be aged by law, and
Whoa.
most people think bourbon is really good somewhere between 6 and 10 years. Is probably its peak of 8. That's prime flavor. Some people like it older, but these are all 3 years or younger. So they're young bourbon.
Like
So
3 years or younger.
yeah, the hell, that's how you like them.
No, that's what I am. I'm saying that's my age. Don't get.
Oh God! Well, then we just broke a lot of laws.
But it's
So
over the internet. So it's okay.
We'll just leave it at that. Shh. Just stop talking. Yeah. So this is Blonde Brother. This is an Illinois bourbon. This was made here in Illinois in a town called Galena. This one, it says in the back, aged at least 3 years. I like these guys because they are kind of no BS. Everybody who starts a whiskey distillery usually has some BS story about like, my grandpappy had a brand in 1806, and like
Straightforward. They say
these guys are like, yeah, we're like two brothers. After college, we decided we like whiskey. We're gonna make it. I hope you like it.
They're the Blonde
And
Brothers.
so
Hey,
this
I want to
one,
be very clear. I'm ranking them because I have to. I don't dislike any of these. I think
no, I know, and that's absolutely fine. Which is the interesting thing is though, out of the 3 options, you said this is the lowest proof.
Whoa.
So this is the least strong or whatever of the 3 alcohol.
Maybe
So
things get mixed together. Really?
No. Don't do that. You're not wrong. It's
Okay.
just we just taste things differently, and but things can taste that way or seem stronger or not as strong. Like I've tasted cast strength whiskey at 130 proof or something that I'm like, ooh, is this like 90? And I've tasted 95 proof, like low proof whiskeys that I'm like, oh my God, this is blowing me away. So like there's a lot of factors. So this is 100 proof. To give you a little bit of like a reference, like any vodka you've ever had is 80 proof. So this is already.
I need to say something that I answered incorrectly earlier. Okay, you said, "What do I drink?" If I'm not out somewhere, like if I was just at home and I wanted to have a drink, it would be some kind of a moonshine,
Oh, okay.
like those flavored moonshines.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, those are a lot of fun.
I'm thinking some of those are like so high proof, but they taste so good to me, and they don't give me that, So yeah, okay, I'm down with what you're saying. I get it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that can affect how the proof comes off to your palate and everything like that. So
Cool.
that's 100 proof. And now number 1, your second favorite, is something called Old Hammer. This is Indiana bourbon. It's called Old Hammer. It's not even Hammer. It's Old Hammer. HAMER.
So we're hitting the Midwest pretty hard here. Nice.
Yeah, I mean the Midwest is pretty ideal for bourbon because for that aging process, you have really hot summers and you have really cold winters. And so what happens in the aging process is
Oh,
because the whiskey comes off the still clear as vodka, clear as water.
I didn't
You
know
put
that.
oh yeah, and then you put it into a charred barrel, and then I believe it's summers is when it gets soaked into the wood, and then winters it contracts and is forced out of the wood.
This is fascinating. Hey, do
So
they move the barrels around ever, or are they just stationary this whole time?
different depends on that's a whole thing too. Depends on some people do what they call heat cycling, and like because the low floor in the warehouse is going to be a little bit cooler and more mild. The top floors heat rises are going to be really hot. Most people leave them in open warehouses. So in the summer it's really hot. Some people control the temperature. They put a little AC in, or they try to keep it kind of consistent to see how that affects it. So it really depends. So yeah, the Midwest is really good for it because you have those extremes in temperature. But we're seeing some interesting things coming out of Texas and stuff too, which is like always hot, always hot. And their stuff ages like really fast because it goes in the wood really quick and like just moves very shortly. Whereas like in the Midwest,
Uh,
it's in and out and in and out. But yeah,
I
this
would
is Old
love,
Hammer. What's
I would
that?
love to come back on this show and do an episode of this tasting with my dad. I think this would be so fun. You would love it,
Hell
I
yeah,
bet.
dude! I'll bring it. This one is only 2 years old.
Okay, the other one was three. This is two. Okay,
This is
okay,
two, and this is the highest proof one that you drank. This is
okay,
117.8 proof.
okay. And which letter would that have been?
The first one.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah. So this is the strongest one. This is 58.9% alcohol.
Wow.
Again,
What?
regular old vodka is about 40% alcohol.
I remember the first time I went to do a sniff, I was like, "Holy shit, dude!"
Yeah. So that one technically was the strongest, but like I said, because of the way it was aged or
Yeah.
the mash bill they use, it came off a little bit maybe smoother, a little bit easier to kind of palate than the last one.
Old Hama. So who? What's their story? If the Blonde brothers were just brothers that wanted to make some bourbon,
This
what?
yeah, this one is kind of falls into the category I was talking about. This they're resurrecting an old name, a previously shuttered distillery from the 19th century. Um, yeah, for years the Hammer family operated a mill in Lawrence County, and now we're bringing back the family legacy. It's pretty
Lawrence
good
County.
stuff, but they're telling that story. What was that?
Lawrence County. My favorite punk band is the Lawrence Arms, and they're from Chicago. I wonder if there's a
Lawrence,
connection.
hell yeah, Dan Andriano, one third of the Alkaline Trio, went
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
on. Hell yeah, Alkaline Trio was like my favorite band growing up.
Nice.
And
Dude, this
then
is
and then your winner is a brand called Wheel Horse Bourbon.
from where?
This is you were talking a little bit about it from Owensboro. This is Owensboro,
Oh my God.
Kentucky. The coal. Wait, was that the coal mining capital or was that the
Yeah, the barbecue capital of the world.
barbecue
This is
capital of the world? And
Owensboro. Wow.
yeah, this one is, I believe, this one's right around 2 years old as well. This is a 2 year bourbon,
Wow.
101 proof.
So,
So
okay.
So just above what the Blom Brothers was. This was 100. This is literally one proof point higher, which is half a percentage alcohol.
So Wheel Horse should be. I should order some of that. This would be the one that I want to drink, maybe.
Yeah, this is kind of a craft distillery. They're made by I think it's the Owensboro Distilling Company. Yeah, and this is one of their first like aged whiskeys that they're putting out on the market, relatively recently. I think it's pretty affordable. I think this is on the shelf for like $35.
So
So
could I buy it at a store here, or would I have to order it special from there?
this one is alcohol shipping is a whole bag of worms. So that depends on I don't know what if California allows shipping in of spirits. Like I know Illinois doesn't. So
Oh,
but you could check if they have distribution in California. They might. They're still kind of a smaller company, so they might not have distribution all
well,
across the U.S.
after this airs, they're gonna have a big boom.
They're gonna have. You're gonna make it rain hot young dollars on their candy ass.
You want to
So
drink the punk drinks?
well, yeah, hell yeah. But okay, so yeah, so the people that's what it was. So we had Blaum, Old Hammer, and Wheel Horse. So if you guys want, check that stuff out.
Check
But
them all out. They're all good, huh?
yeah, All fantastic products, all from the Midwest, Indiana, Kentucky, and Illinois, all represented. Um, but yeah,
Wow, cool.
Ryan, though, thank you so much for doing this, man.
Thanks for having me. This is way more. I thought it was gonna be fun, but this is like so fun.
It's that, and that's dude. That's what happened to me when I first get into it. It's like I just tried it. I just wanted to drink it, and then like I started learning some of the things. I'm like, whoa, really? Like there's all that. There's all that, and
When
like
it,
there's all these communities like there is for wrestling, like fandoms and like Facebook groups and message boards. I'm like, oh my god, it's like sci-fi nerds. There's a whole community here around like whiskey. It's crazy.
I just posted it saying, you gotta do Aiden English's bourbon show.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah, dude, I really didn't know that. I mean, it sounds very obvious when you say that, but I just never considered it.
I didn't either. Exactly. I'm like, oh, it should. I just wanted to learn to drink whiskey straight up because I thought
Hmm.
that was cool.
Yeah,
And
man.
in doing so, I found this whole community, this whole like subculture and everything like that. It's pretty fascinating. So,
They accept you, or do they think you're an outsider infiltrator?
at first it was probably a little touch and go, but like I think I proved by like one of the biggest things is like anybody who comes from the outside is like they want you to open your bottles because a lot of people come in and like wine, they'll just buy fancy bottles, they'll spend a lot of money, and then they'll either hoard them or trade them for like triple the value. They'll flip
Oh,
them, and so like the fact that I was actually like on my Instagrams of opening and talking about it and trying to like do tasting notes, it was like, oh okay, he actually likes the whiskey instead of just like trying to get in it for like the money.
are you getting people to like catch on to earn your bourbon? Like you're getting people who love bourbon now, like working out with kettlebells and getting jacked and stuff.
I mean, not I didn't exactly start a movement or light it on fire, but yeah, there's people who like dig the catchphrase and everything like that, and I like to think
Thank you.
that what's that?
It's a good catchphrase.
Hey, I like to think that I am an example of like yes, you can stay in shape and still enjoy like
That
liquor and
is.
stuff like that. Trying, man. I'm on terrible cardio shape, but I'm
Each
still
of those words have a similar earn your bourbon. You know, it's like it's very
yeah.
catchy.
Hey,
It's fun to
I
say.
do I do what I can. Marketing genius over here. But speaking of marketing, before we go, the usual podcast spiel kind of thing. Where can everybody find you personally, of course, and then obviously right now with Heal, anywhere they can watch it. When will they be able to stream it or whatever? All that
You
kind
know
of
what?
info.
Don't follow me. Don't find me. Don't watch the movie. Just leave me alone. All right. I'm sick of you people. I can be found on Twitter at Hot Young Briley, or if you just type in Ryan Nemeth, I'm the verified one. It shows up right away. And on Instagram, Ry Nem, and on Instagram, Heel Movie. That's where I'm posting all the heel stuff. Um, the movie may be coming to a town near you if your city has a film festival. And maybe if you think that I haven't submitted to it, there's still plenty of time. They're really dragging the season out because of COVID and stuff. So if anyone's listening to this and enjoys a film festival in your particular city or know of one, message me and send me the name of it. I will probably submit to it. I want this to be seen by as many people as possible. And the closest one to this airing is probably the Orlando International Film Festival, and that is streaming, so you can watch that from anywhere. And
What is
tell
the
me what
date
time.
of that?
The date of that is I just have to check my little email I just sent out on Seed and Spark. I believe it's the end of this month, but let me just confirm that.
Because yeah, this will air within a week of what we're filming right now. Will air
Wow,
within a week right now. So
time traveling. All right. And the Orlando Festival is, it will go live Tuesday, May 25th, and I will definitely post about that a lot. So, however, that syncs
yep.
up to it's a week after this is airing, maybe or two.
Yeah, so this will air on May 10th, and then
Okay.
that'll
So,
be yeah, a little bit more than a week. And so yeah, pay attention to Ryan's socials. I'm sure he'll be sharing the links and everything to where
I'm real
the
mouthy. I'm always saying something on there.
just saying shit.
And if you're in the Tampa area, check out the Ybor City Supermarket in Tampa, Florida, and they're my great friends. And they have great products.
He's getting paid so much to say that right now. It's not even funny.
I celebrated a Ramadan feast with them. They were fasting all day, and then said, "Let's catch up when we eat." And it was just the most fun I've ever had, probably.
Oh,
What a great.
I've heard about like yeah during Ramadan like those once sunset goes down and everything like that like yeah the feasts and like the parties and everything are fantastic.
It was so fun. They will just treated me like I was their family. These are people that I have been friends with like from a distance once I had left Tampa, and it was just another example of like meeting amazing people. And right, you see them after 6 years, it's like no time has passed, and you're just like, it's so amazing, so fun. Love people.
And what a great segue, because that's what this has been. I haven't seen you in a little while, and this was a ton of fun. And see, that's how you segue. That's how you
It's
tell
so
stories.
fun. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. No, absolutely.
I would love to come back to my dad. You gotta do this with my dad. He would be
Okay.
so good at tasting these.
I'll do. I
Thanks
won't
for
even.
having
I
me.
won't even record it. We'll just like hang out on Zoom, and I'll walk your dad through some whiskeys.
He drinks in the garage that's where he watches wrestling and watches the Browns and like feeds the deer in the backyard. Like the garage is his like private domain. I would love to bring the computer in there or the iPad or whatever and just taste the 3 samples. Dude, he would love that.
We'll do it. We'll do it. We'll do it.
All right.
100%. But for now, everybody, always try new things, young or old. Always check out new art, new movies, things like that. You know, expand your horizons as always. And always, always, always the catchphrase time, be wrestling with whiskey. We will see you on the next one.